I'll move on to Chapter 4. I'm going to tell you what the 5 questions I'm going to hone in, have you guys focus on studying for. It's Chapter 4. If you took this Chapter 4 and come down here, I'm just going to snag this thing. It gets easier as we move forward in front of the chapter of this thing. The first one I want to talk to you about is for you to understand the concept of, if you go to page 200, in page 200, it talks to you about the if structures, the two-way selections with this thing. I'm going to give you a very simple, do you see that example on page 200? This is example 4-11. So this is what's called a two-way selection with this thing. I'm going to give you an if statement, some sort of test expression. If you recall, I'm going to you initialize. I'll initialize and declare some variables in this thing before I do this thing. All right, and then I'm going to actually come in. I'm going to tell you what the control structure is. Okay, so you got some sort of control structure that's the if statement for an if statement. Now this is an if else. You got to do this thing, but the catch in this thing is you got to be careful is the mathematical order of precedence in this thing. Now this is, if you recall that going back to chapter 2 and chapter 3, that there's an order of precedence when you actually look at the mathematical expression in this thing. So make sure you review. Please review. I can tell you this exam I will have a lot of order of precedence with it. So make sure you are able to do some mathematical expression with this thing. The wrong answer is there as well. Okay, so make sure you calculate right for me. So just to recap some couple of stuff with it, I'll capture some of the stuff, and when we get to chapter 3, the regular input output are the same. But for this, going back to chapter 2, I'm going to cover with it as well. Order of precedence of mathematic. So what takes place first? If those of you remember from your developmental days or grade school, if you recall, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so if you remember this acronym, what P stands for, what? Parentheses goes first, right? Right, and if you recall, what's E? That's your exponential, right? And then you have my's what? Multiplication. And then you have your D's what? Your division. And ant is what? Your addition. And S is for your subtraction. So, how am I going to ask you this? Listen up. I'm going to ask you, besides your structure, but are you able to execute your mathematical expression in this thing? So I can give you a mathematical expression with a structure, and you tell me what the answer is. Okay. So I wrote, a couple of these questions on here. Please review this. The other piece about this thing is that which one of the, I want you to be able to understand on page 218. Go to page 217. Okay, page 217. I want you to understand to over 218. Know the difference between one equal sign versus two equal sign. Now, if you recall, this is a relational operator. This two equal sign right here. All right, you're evaluating it. Does it equal to something as an expression? This means you're assigning it. Okay, so I'd like for you to understand that. This is on page 2, bottom of page 2, 17 to 18 with it, and make sure you understand how that works with it. Okay, so I have a question off of that as well with it. Other than that, let me see what else I can get. Please note switch statements in this. So something very handy when you actually write structures with this thing. Page 223 to 236. I'm going to give you some sort of example, similar to code, that's a case switch statements with this thing. And I'm going to ask you, what is the output for this thing? Basically, what's this code output for switch case switch statements with it? So make sure you understand the case switch statement that you test some value. Now you cannot put a logical operator what you're testing with it, right? So when you put it in, make sure there are key things. There's the default as a safety net. There's also a break statement. Any case that does not have a break statement is going to go through the next one down. All right. So look through that, read through that. I have two multiple choice questions that I'm going to ask you from that. Okay. From examples of case switch statements. Okay, that's it. Thanks, guys.